Hi there. Welcome to 30 Frames a Second. Now don't adjust anything. It's Takeover Tuesday. You know that when you see us. Nat let us loose out of the basement and we broke out of the handcuffs. We have some new members here and we have someone that is missing. We'll talk about that later. 30 Frames a Second. Here we go. Let's get started.
We will fight to abolish ICE. Keep families together, protect refugees, protect women's right to choose, and fight against climate change.
One of your panelists today, one of your hosts. I am a runway choreographer, ex-supermodel, and I am a runway expert on the Miss Universe pageant coming up soon. Next to me, this woman needs no introduction, but I will anyway, Miss Sheila Spellberry. I used to forget the spell. She's the executive producer of the Gospel Showcase. And we have someone that's really dear to us, and we're so excited to have her back. We are trying to make her a permanent part of this.
Yes.
Meah Dene. Meah, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
Meah has a show here as well that we are excited about called The Real Effect. And she is a TV host and a producer. She's an extremely good host. When she asks you questions, you feel it. Right, Meah? Yeah. Yeah. We are so happy to have you here. Thank you for joining us here.
Thank you. I'm excited to talk to you ladies.
Excellent. Let's get this party started. VK is away today. She has things she has to do, as well as Nikki, but we wish them well on their endeavors today, and may everything go well for them. We will see them the next time, I hope, in the new year, because this is the end of the year.
Yeah.
End of the year. A lot of elections going on.
Just had the midterms.
And things
That
of
was
that nature.
exciting.
Yeah, excited. Women rule. That's right. But let's get started with the record number of women that won. First, why do you think it was a record number of women? What was the difference, do you think?
I mean, people are just a lot more aware of what's going on in today's society. They're tired and fed up. I know I was tired and fed up of everything that's going on with the Trump administration, his misogynistic views, and they just wanted to be more involved in politics. And it's crazy because I've never been someone that's been involved in politics, and so this is probably one of the first time I've voted in the midterm elections. I voted in the presidential elections, but when people are coming out in hundreds and thousands to vote in the midterm elections, that says a lot. You know, the lines were packed, like the places were packed. It looked like when Obama was running. That's how full the buildings were. So yeah, I think people are they just need something new. And the fact that we took the presidential election, we didn't take it seriously when Trump was running. And all of us were like, he can't win. And then, you know, a lot of people fooled us, and they voted for him. And so now we're trying to take back the government.
Do you think it has something to do with having a president that we heard his own words regarding grabbing a certain woman's female part, the fact that there have been people in the White House we know that have been charged with battery against a spouse but continue to work, people who are being elected that have been accused of sexual attack no matter how long ago. Do you think it finally just came to a boiling point and women came out and said, let's get other women in? Do you think men had something to do with voting women in as well, or did women step up to the plate and say, let's find someone that we can count on, that empathizes with us?
I think it was both. I think the men voted for Women for a Change because they probably realized we came from the women who teach us, who raise us. That was part of it. But what I feel that was the best thing that happened was the advertisements and encouraging each other to vote on public access.
There were some good ones. There were some good ones this time.
Yeah, on public access and as well as major networks. And even in various organizations, we were constantly walking up and down the street, my family all across the nation, our family almost everywhere. And we were texting each other, don't forget to vote, and how important, and just like my family did it, lots of other families did it. Being that we're people of color, we had to remind ourselves, look at the price that generations before us, I came up in the civil rights struggle, and knowing, you know, these people died, even the little girls in Sunday school, that we could have a right to an education and to vote.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of people, I feel like basically when it came to, there's education, you know, like a lot of people were more aware of what's going on. It started with the Women's March. You know, women were really fighting for a cause. They were really voicing their opinions, not so much as before. I feel like when we felt like we were in a great economy and the economy was going well when we had President Obama, and people were just cooling. They were chilling. They were living a good life. And the tables turned. And so I feel like things like the Women's March and people speaking up and the advertisements helped others to really start the conversation of we need to be more aware of what's going on.
I saw some incredible advertisement when I was home in Florida with, instead of the candidates talking, there was a mother speaking about it firsthand, gun control. There was a father speaking and to actually hear from other people other than the candidate saying vote for me,
Yeah.
but why you shouldn't vote for the other person. It was like, wow, he said that or he did that. So I think it also piggybacked young people stating March for Our Lives.
Yes.
With the young people saying we've had enough. I think it was just a combination of everyone saying it's enough now. Now, I have a question. Given what we know about Russia interfering in the past, do you think that has played any type of a role on how close so many of the races are? I mean, for instance, we've had to recount in Arizona. I believe, I could be incorrect, they are still counting now in Florida and Georgia. Do you think, knowing what we know, and I don't think anyone within the sound of my voice can say that our elections haven't been tampered with or could be tampered with.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not proven. But do you think that's why so many of them are so close?
I can't say for certain, but I definitely know that with Democrats taking over the Congress or the House of Representatives, then we have a better chance at making this investigation go forward. You know, because we now have the power. Republicans weren't really pushing it as much, but now Democrats will. So maybe that is something that people were thinking about when it came to voting for the election, the midterm elections.
And also why the votes have to be recounted in certain areas. I know where I voted at, the scanner went down.
Yes.
So they had to hold everything up.
It was
They were
crazy.
very cautious. They called in extra security. Well, I just can speak for what I saw in the development that I live in where I vote. And if that happened in that area, could you imagine across the country how many scanners probably broke down?
Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's already been proven in one state that a gentleman running was also in charge, which I don't even know how that could. There's so many things I don't understand how they can be right now. But he's running and also in charge of the entire election.
Yeah.
And a member of his organization said that there were thousands of votes that they find suspect, so they shouldn't be counted.
Right, in
And
Georgia.
right. There are just things happening in Florida and Georgia that are just, and I think we have to realize, as much as my New York friends want to say, Florida is as far south as you can get. I get friends that forget that
Basically.
Florida is the South. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah.
Of course.
Florida's underneath Georgia and
Yes.
Alabama and Mississippi, if you look at it.
Yes,
So
yes.
don't get it twisted, because a lot of New Yorkers have moved and retired there.
I mean,
On that note,
it's amazing.
Michelle
I'm
Obama's
excited. Like
Yes.
anything with Michelle and Obama, I get excited.
So do I. So do I. I'm excited. I've decided it's going to be my holiday reading when I need to just let some of that food digest and everyone else is watching football, which I'm not a thing of. I'm going to snuggle up in the guest room and just get under and just read and read and read. And I like to do that. And from what I understand, it's incredible reading. I'm extremely proud of her. I'm extremely proud of her.
Me too. I didn't get a chance to read it myself yet, but I saw part of the movie on, I think it was ABC on Sunday.
Her interview with Robin Roberts.
Her interview.
There was a
okay.
movie also on one of the channels.
But Michelle hasn't done a movie on the
wasn't-
book she's done.
Oh no! Oh, it was her first date.
Yes.
Southside
yeah,
Review.
uh-huh.
Okay. Okay.
And
All
then I
right.
saw part of the interview with her also. I was very impressed with that.
So was I. Now on that interview, because there's a piece that caused a heated discussion amongst friends last night. Her and I would hate to misquote, but saying that I would never forgive President Obama for what he has
Trump.
put. President Trump, excuse me, for what he has put upon her family, and it's continual today. What he has unleashed. How do you feel about that?
I feel like she has every right to say what she feels and how it affected her, and I don't feel like she should have to sugarcoat the fact that she was afraid. Well, who knows? But I'm assuming that she was probably afraid if your family's safety is in danger. Of course, I'm gonna be mad. at the person
Mama
that
Bear
put
comes
us,
out.
Yeah, that put us in danger, and I'm gonna be afraid that something could happen to my family. So for her to say that she could never forgive him, that's just her truth, you know? And also his response to it, to me, was just, once again, him trying to shift the topic and trying not to be the blame of anything. Because at the end of the day, we're talking about your actions, not anyone else's actions. Because President Obama's actions had nothing to do with you saying that basically you will never forgive Obama for what he did to the military and putting their safety in danger because it was underfunded. But how many years before was the military underfunded? You know, like there are so many things that could go into that topic. This has nothing to do with the fact that you literally said that this man was not a U.S. citizen and tried to...
with no proof.
Yeah, with no proof.
With
and
no
never,
proof.
Never had any proof. I mean, we could talk about a lot of things that you haven't proven, like, you know, your tax returns and your business affiliations. You know, there's so much we can get into. So I was over his response to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else, Sheila, on that?
Yes, I do feel that her comment that she made was very good because he don't understand where Michelle is coming from. A black woman, and you mess with her man and her family and put them through all of that. And he's so stupid. Number 45 is just out of his mind. And she should have said that to give him a good scare, and it worked.
I'm going to take a different approach. I want to first start by saying, not being a mother, I can never, ever know what she's going through, and I'm not even trying to pretend I can. And I'm just going to say that I'm going to continue to pray for her that she does find that forgiveness somewhere. And I'm not saying that's going to be tomorrow. I'm not saying it's going to be in the next 5 or 10 years, but I'm going to hold out hope that she does for twofold. First and foremost, being a devout Christian, the Bible quotes that we will not be forgiven if we don't forgive. And those were exact words from God. There's no ifs, and or buts about it. But secondly, I just found, even for myself, and it's so funny, after having this conversation last night, this morning, it was brought to my attention people that I haven't truly forgiven. And I had to get on my knees and say, okay, Daddy, I was arguing last night about forgiveness, but there are people that I need to get over some things and forgive. But another thing, there is just such a lightness that comes when you have said, gone with your bad self.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying she can't, because even today, her family is still in great danger. So by no means am I saying this is something that should happen. It's only my prayer for her. That's my prayer for her, that she can find it. Because I believe when you hold unforgiveness, people have power over you.
True.
I believe with all my heart, when that little piece of my heart still has something against something for you, you have some power over me, other than me saying you don't exist in my world.
Can I add to you? What she said that she did not forgive him, but that's now. She won't forget, but eventually she will forgive him because she's bigger than that.
Well, that's my prayer. I can't say what people will or won't do, but absolutely. And I think it's only right you don't forget. I don't think it's ever meant for us to forget. That's how we grow. Yeah, that's how we grow. I remember if I touched that fire that burnt, let me not do it again. If I eat candy, I got sick. You know, if I don't study, I fail an exam. So, you know, I don't forget those things. But that's just my own personal,
Right now, she's angry, and I don't blame her. She's very angry at what he did and what he said and what he put them through.
Oh, I 100%. I mean, I don't know it's any more anger after 9 or 10 years than it was the first 3 or 4 years. You know, but yes, that is my prayer for her. And Michelle, we adore you.
Yes.
Nothing would give us more joy than you to accidentally see this and want to join us at Manhattan Neighborhood Network. If I ever get the opportunity, I am going to invite you in person for that. So let's continue. I have been watching more and more young people decide to call Ubers and jump in without being, one, absolutely sure it was even an Uber there, two, not telling anyone. It's an alarming rate to me. Someone sent something over social media not too long ago that says, do you remember when we were young, we were told to never take a ride from a stranger and don't talk to strangers, but our kids jump in a car at any point.
What's the difference between an Uber and a taxi? You know what I'm saying? Like,
You're absolutely right.
I'm still finding modes of transportation that I need. So I do understand the aspect where you're saying be more careful and let people know where you're going or what you're doing. But like if I have to go somewhere, that's like me jumping on a train or a bus. I don't know who's driving. I don't know who's conducting this vehicle. So, but I guess for me, like, where are you going with this exactly?
I think parents have to take more caution as to giving their kids Uber accounts on their phone and saying, you know, here you go. Now you got a way to get somewhere. It's just that I have more and more friends who are saying, she just got an Uber and went there. And I'm like, she didn't tell you?
Teenagers and
yes.
kids? Okay.
How old? Or is it a maturity level? How old should someone be before we're giving them that on their phone that they can use? Or maybe it's a good thing that if a girl found herself in a predicament, she could then get herself out of it immediately as opposed to calling mom and dad, which puts her in an awkward position with her friends.
Yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword because you know, Uber and technology gives you the access, especially as parents, to be able to track and see, like, oh, my child is going here. Like, I see the taxi is 10 minutes away, the Uber is 10 minutes away. So it's helpful, but I do understand what you're saying in the sense of, like, my kid could potentially be in danger because this is a stranger, and I don't necessarily, like, I'm not taking them physically. So, yeah, it's like a double-edged sword.
Technology is growing at such, and maybe I'm the only one because you're much younger than, I'm gonna say for me, Sheila, than for me. So that might be, I don't know. How do you feel about the pace technology is growing? Let me just say that I have a friend who is now looking for, and I hate the word guinea pigs, but he's looking for subjects that they want to implant a chip in the tip of your ear here. And a piece right in here that actually goes in with a needle that you barely feel anything, a little thing inside here. And that's going to be the phone of the future where you literally just say, call mom, and it calls mom. That scares me. How do you feel? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the computers we have now that do the housework and you just say it started with the little robot that cleans and now it turns on the lights and turns on the music and turns on. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's helpful, but it's also it's scary. It's a scary progression because you also know that they're already working on things that we don't know about and probably won't come out for another 5 years. And then another 5 years, they're already working on something else. So it's scary in the sense of like robots could potentially take over. And it's like, how do you prepare for that? You know, because I still have on my laptop, I have a little piece of paper over the camera because I'm not playing.
I do too. I have a stickum, the little stickums. I have it taped here and then folded over. And when I need it for Skype, then because I do a lot of work through Skype, and then I lift it up. But I do too. Do you know what we mean, Sheila?
Of course.
Okay. Do you have yours covered?
No.
Okay. All right.
I dare anybody to Skype me.
Well, not Skype you, but they're looking in on people, not Skype.
Oh,
I know
like
when people are Skyping.
the government
People are
is
looking,
spying?
well, not, I want to
we
say
don't know
not
who
just
it
the
is,
government.
but-
There was an ex-teen Miss USA who was hacked into, and they videoed her entire life for she doesn't know how long in her bedroom. Everything with her computer open that they can see hackers and things like that. And there was a warning that just went out about 3 weeks ago because 3 of my friends sent me the same warning that there is a heightened alert right now. They've actually all bought the little piece that goes over their phone camera that they keep on. They're selling those now, but there's a piece that goes in your case that you can lift up the camera part. Because of that.
I feel like they listen because you could be talking about something and then you get on your phone and it instantly pops it up. So, you know, they're doing a lot of stuff that we have no idea about, and it's at the end of the day, how do you prepare? I have no idea how I prepare for this. If anybody has some advice, let me know. I don't know how to prepare
We
for
are
this.
really, I'm even nervous about Clear. Those of you who know, at the airport, there's a specific line now for Clear. And if I'm correct, you have to be fingerprinted and things of that nature, but then you get to zoom right on, and they're really trying to get people
Yeah, they're just trying to track
get
people.
through the line at Clear. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll stand in the old-fashioned line. And
Yeah, because it's like, I am the type of person that I don't want to give my DNA information because you could track me, but then I forgot because I did an ancestry test. And it's like, dang, now they have all my information and I can't do anything about that. Before, it's like, oh, you've never been in jail or anything like that. They don't have your information.
in the system.
Of course, through hospitals and stuff like that, but that's an extreme if they're going to the hospitals and getting people's DNA. That's a little extreme. But it's like now they have these companies that literally have millions of people's DNA on hold. It's like, what can the government do with that, It's a little scary.
Speaking of government, Sheila, I think we were talking earlier about housing authority and
Yes.
something that was troubling you.
Oh, yes. New York City Housing Authority have been on the air and in the newspapers for the neglect of New York City housing and the criminal activities that was going on in New York City housing. And matter of fact, on 30 frames a second was shown, they showed about 6 rats in one apartment. And when you come to the point that there are so many rats, and rats will attack, especially when one will attack if it's bold enough, but we're talking about 6. In the Bronx, a rat just bit a baby. And these rats are coming forth again, and it's causing so many diseases. I spoke to someone who worked in New York City housing. She's a housing assistant, and she also lived in New York City housing. And she said that people do the small things that cause big problems. Number one, they don't clean up behind themselves. They don't destroy their garbage the way they're supposed to. New York City housing workers may come and mop your floors in your hallway at 11 o'clock. By 11:30, it's like the zoo, because certain people do not, and this is in all communities, a lot of communities, the wealthier people can pay someone to do the work. The people that are not wealthy, they can't pay, but do it yourself, because there's so many diseases that, remember the plague? The plague was even as far as Bible days. There was plagues over in England and later generations after that. And diphtheria, it comes from lack of cleanliness. The solution to the problem, just like we talked about the election to each other, some people need to be reminded, pick up your dirt. Don't feed the birds, because seriously, she told me that when you feed the birds,
They come back
your foot tramples on it. It take those crumbs in your house. Then when you look out, here come the roaches. Those are the hardest things to get rid of. And this is a constant fight. And you have to fight this filth. So many children today, you have asthma. We've never had asthma cases and respiratory diseases like we have now. It's terrible. And we need to, we do it in our building, and your neighbor move in and they don't put the trash in the compactor. Tell them, hey, will you get rid of that? And you heard me complain on this show about the dogs and the pooper scooper and all of that. Well, I can say now, I can walk down my block with my walker and myself without playing hopscotch over the poop, because we've spoke out. You have to actually speak to one another and communicate. And everybody can communicate in some language or another where they could be understood. Or you can get someone, if you don't speak their language and they don't, that speak the same language and tell them, pick up, throw out. Don't.
Sheila, I've come
clutter.
so close to so many fights on the subway where I have to sit back and remember I'm a $1.20 soaking wet. I really have to remember because there is something in me when you just eat your food, fast food, and decide to drop the garbage right there in your seat and look at people like, so what? And that's acceptable when I have to share the subway car with you. I have just gotten to a point where my friends are like, Lou, look at me. Don't look at him. Look at me. And it just, oh my gosh, you don't know how that so disturbs me.
And this one person will say, okay, it's just my little piece of trash. But millions of people, if they drop trash, look how much trash you have. Look on 48th Street.
I don't know why anyone would feel a sense of entitlement that I should be able to, as opposed to exactly what you just said. What would happen if everybody? We had a building on our street that there were just 2 people, and we were able to identify who would open up their window and throw their garbage on the vacant lot next door. And I don't mean just any garbage. I mean, there were baby diapers with feces, there was fried chicken bones, anything at the frying pan. And the rats had practically taken over, and the block association would shine a flashlight. We took times at night. We put notes on the door begging the other tenants. We did everything. Nothing was done. And we did our doggonest to get that place condemned and everyone out. And if I tell you the names we were called, because we had decided we can no longer do this, that it's unacceptable that I have to be afraid in the morning when I go to the gym because the rats are running me off the sidewalk. I have to literally walk in the street on a one-way street because if I walk on the sidewalk, the rats come out big as cats. But yet we have begged you and begged you and begged you, the 2 tenants that have decided to do that. Please say something to them, report them, do something. So I get exactly what you're saying, and I think maybe we feel it more in New York because we're so on each other.
Fine, yeah.
Yes, we're so right next to each other, perhaps.
It's always the urban area, the big cities. Baltimore, they go rat hunting.
Oh, okay.
I saw that.
Okay.
So it's the
well, we're
big
going to draw the
cities.
line and going rat hunting. Okay.
It's a
We
big
here on Manhattan
problem.
Neighborhood Network are not saying to get a posse together. Well, maybe Nat would, but that's another show. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's continue. Our hearts go out to those in California with the fires.
Yes. It's so sad.
Are they even sure how they started?
Well, I mean, the land is so dry, so like wildfires start there all the time because it's like they're in drought, you know. So I don't feel like there's a particular like reason or there's a particular person that lit a match. And I don't think that's the case for this one.
How do people recover after? And right now I won't talk emotionally, but financially, can you be insured for things of this nature? And does the insurance go up? For instance, Camilla, can't think of her last name right now. This is the second time. No, I want to take that back. It's her neighbor. It's the second time that they've gone through, that their house have been burnt. What does fire insurance go up? I don't know about.
I have no idea either, but I was thinking the same thing, like all of these houses that most likely have fire insurance because of the area they live in. Like, what happens to these families? Is there enough money to even cover it by the
All of
insurance
these
companies?
homes.
Yeah. So I have no idea, but it's
Do you
it's
rebuild
tragic.
after something like that? Because it might happen
Most people
again.
do.
You?
Most people do.
Yeah. I feel like most people, you would
Like tornadoes
fall
and
down
hurricanes,
get back up and
they
you,
just rebuild and rebuild and rebuild.
After
Now,
Katrina,
Now, see, I
they-
think that takes a special kind of
After
something.
Katrina, they rebuilt New Orleans. After Katrina.
I understand like a city rebuilding, but do you personally say, I'll take a chance and stay here again after
do.
losing everything?
People do.
They do. For the sake of the community.
For the sake of that's their
The
home.
schools,
Yeah.
their homes, and their, okay. All right, now see, to me, that takes a special somebody, and our heart truly goes out to those, especially this time of year. Coming up to the holidays, again, I can't even imagine what that would be like. How do we, and I don't know if we can be better prepared for things of this nature, but the natural disasters seem to be happening more often, with more frequency than they did before. Is it climate control? Is it?
To me, I think it's climate change. I mean, that's the only realistic reasoning for me personally, and the fact that we have somebody in office that doesn't care about climate change or doesn't necessarily
Denies
believe
that it's even happening.
believes that it's happening, and we have videos of South American countries, Central American countries that their waters are flooded with trash, and it's like, it's crazy, and I believe it's definitely climate change that's causing these mudslides and the wildfires, hurricanes getting worse every year. Yeah, I don't know how we can defend it.
I think it's too much, especially in the cities, too much building and digging up near the waters that make everything shift and cause a lot of climate change.
Oh, Sheila, that makes me very nervous because I hear so many people talking about New York. Half of New York is going to be buried
under the Hudson River, yeah.
After a while. You've never heard that rumor?
No, I've never heard
Oh,
that.
I'm sorry, young person. Yeah, this is just old people talking, and they're like, New York going to be buried soon, and part of Florida's going to be cut off with the way the water is going.
Oh, it's rising,
and
yeah.
and things of that nature. So I don't know. I think more now, and again, by no means am I pushing religion, whatever your higher power, whether that be karma. I would just say keep the faith and
Yes.
try to stay positive. There just seems to be so much nowadays
So much
What the
negativity.
that we could focus
what
on.
the United States need to stop doing is having all of these developers in different areas come in and tear down and build up. There's no room. Stop it. Let them build in there. Trump is talking about stay in your country and all that. He needs to look at his people and tell them to build where they're at.
I'm confused. You mean like not build anymore?
No, fix up what you have. Don't be tearing down. Over here by the Hudson River, skyscrapers are going up. That's not even necessary.
Oh, okay.
And who's living in them? It's not even necessary for us to have that. And this is causing problems. It's causing the weather to change and the ground to shift. I think it was 1986, 87, somewhere, when New York had that little slide. I wasn't here. I was down in Florida. And I understood that it was a shift in the ground, and pictures was falling off of people's walls that live in the Bronx, and Manhattan said they felt it too. If they keep putting up buildings all over the country, our wildlife is gone, the beautiful parks. We can't get fresh fish like we used to. What happened to farming? We have to get food from other countries. Why? We have the property here. Why let people come and build all of these buildings, even in the South?
Wow. Okay. Absolutely.
We need to grow our own. It's very positive. We can't do it. Yes, we can. People are growing food in Brooklyn and have their restaurant downstairs selling the food that they grow. So we should be able,
From farm to table.
to do this all over the country, not be building all of these high rises.
Speaking of which, I found a book. Oh gosh, I can't believe I'll think of the name of it. It's around the tip of my tongue. That has truly changed my world. It's by a Dr. Grundy, and it talks specifically about things being put in our food today that wasn't in the past.
Right.
And it's just incredible that I've now started to read labels more than I ever have, and I like to think I'm highly intelligent, or at least semi-intelligent, but I never noticed so many things, and we like to call them words we can't pronounce, in our food. And I now, even in my fish, I buy frozen fish and would turn it over and see there are things in it as opposed to just fish.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I now buy cod and it says ingredients cod, not cod, food coloring, and gum something, something, something. So it has truly, truly, truly made a difference in my life to just start now to do that, to just read how do you feel about that? Are you conscious about that? Is that something?
I struggle because, you know, I was raised in the South. I was raised by a mother that cooked fried chicken all the time and fried pork chops, smothered pork chops. And so a lot of times we weren't looking at the back of the labels. But now, you know, I'm a little older and her health isn't as good as it used to be. So me growing up and having to take care of my family and things like that, I'm very aware that I need to pay a little more attention to the food that we're intaking and where is it coming from, how healthy is it. Even like there are several documentaries, especially on Netflix, about you know things like how unhealthy eggs are, how unhealthy cheese is, how we're not really supposed to be intaking milk from animals, where you know, and so there's so many things that sometimes you feel overwhelmed and you rather just do what you've been doing. So I fight between that, doing what I've been doing, and taking baby steps to live a little healthier. So like for the past 2 or 3 years, I haven't eaten pork. And for me, that was a big step. But I could instantly tell the difference in my body. I had a lot more energy. You know, you can instantly feel it. So eventually I'm going to get to pescatarian, just eating chicken and seafood. And I have friends that we constantly have these conversations about like diets and what they can really intake and how it's affecting their bodies. Vegan versus other types of diets, and if vegan's really healthy for you or should you be vegetarian. So it's a lot to think about, and I think you also have to think about like how your body is and
exactly,
you know, because everybody
I
doesn't
can't
need to
be I can't be vegetarian. I have to have iron, and I cannot get enough iron source from beans when I'm on the road. But I have found, see, it's funny because I will eat certain pork. That's my weakness. I'm sorry. I'll eat a pig from the hoot to the toot. Don't write in and don't call me. But I've stopped eating chicken.
Oh, okay.
When I read about what our chicken is allowed to be fed, and the doctor asked if you give yourself just 2 months, and what I saw the difference in my hair and my nails.
Oh, wow.
Made me sit back and say, wow, I did not know our chickens were being fed these things so that they have more eggs. Yeah, and things. And when it came to beef, I now eat grass-fed, finished and fed. I didn't understand the terminology,
Well,
and
what is
I taste the
finished?
difference. It means from the beginning to the end. There was never any corn or oats in their diet. Yeah, they can say grass-fed and they mix it. I didn't realize that. And traveling abroad as much as I do, this year alone I was in Lebanon, Beirut, China, and Bolivia. And speaking in Bolivia, the meat tastes so different that it bugged me beyond belief. Why does this meat? And they are known for their beef. And when I started to do research, that's why. Their cows are fed only grass and healthy grass, and the meat there was so good. And when I started to eat grass-fed and finished here, it cooks different. It takes longer to cook. It's just everything about it. So I'm going to take baby steps as well. My weakness is still a sausage patty, and it's going to be for the holidays. Mama, I'll be home. Grits with cheese and butter, sausage, me. Okay, and smoked neck bone and ham hock in my collard greens now. But yeah, I too am taking baby steps. But to piggyback what you said, Sheila, there are just so many illnesses now that are just so prevalent. And I'm talking autism, I'm talking about Alzheimer's, I'm talking about diabetes, I'm talking about fibroid tumors, I'm talking about things that there has to be
Breast
something
cancer.
we're doing differently. So anything, and these are just, again, we are not by any means preaching to anyone. Our thing here is just to have an open discussion, and if we can make you think for 1 second, I'm going to check into that.
Yeah.
Then our
Right.
job is done.
That's
and
right.
there is a new year coming. I'm excited to say it is the holidays here. We are hoping that you and your family are getting together, and something we like to say often here, make memories. You working 20 days in a row, you missing the Little League games, the ballet recitals, the dinner time. These are not things you're going to be able to get back.
True.
So
right.
make memories.
Do you guys have traditions that you do every year for the holidays?
Yeah, eat.
I mean, that's always a tradition.
Yeah, we eat early on Christmas Day and then eat again by at like 4 o'clock. Do you do that? Or do you just eat one time at night?
No, we can't. We leave everything set up, and whatever have to be heat over, go back and forth.
But you eat early that day.
Yes, very
Me too.
early.
A lot. I have
What
friends
time
who
is
eat.
early, noon?
Yes,
and
yes.
like,
We don't eat that
Thanksgiving
early.
we eat
See,
early.
yeah, we eat at about noon or 1, and then all the football and all that, and the kids are out in the back doing something, and then at about 4:30 or 5, we're in there either making sandwiches with the ham, or I just want some collard greens this time, Mama. Just give me some collard greens. I don't need nothing else, and then
And
the
that
kitchen
way-
is clean by 8:30. We don't play
That way
that.
we don't have to fix breakfast because everybody's opening up their gifts.
Yes. Yeah, we don't fix breakfast because it's cut some of that chicken and some of that ham, and Mama put a pot of grits on, and that's it. You ate too much last night. You don't need no eggs with cheese. Do you have traditions in your family?
We don't have traditions. I want to eventually start some, so I don't know what they would be yet, but we don't do like the open one gift on Christmas Eve
No,
or
we don't
anything
either.
like that.
And do you celebrate Kwanzaa, or is it
I haven't
Christmas?
celebrated Kwanzaa. It's
Okay,
Christmas.
okay.
But yeah, I want to like eventually celebrate Kwanzaa one year and just see other traditions like African traditions. Well, they don't necessarily believe in Christmas, but but different ways to be with your family, because that's my biggest thing. Especially, I love Thanksgiving because it's all about the family time.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like Christmas is all about the
The
presents,
gifts.
and sometimes I feel like that is oversaturated, and I just rather it be about the memories and the family time. So.
Thanksgiving, I feel, should be celebrated every day, even though we do the
Being
tradition.
grateful.
Yes, because I had a big argument with my family last week. I told them I wasn't doing turkey. Who said my family was that came over here? They came over on slave ships. They weren't pilgrims. Why should I go get a turkey? And my grandson, which I forgot to announce, who's now a pastor of a church of Salvation Baptist Church, we will have a turkey. I'm bringing the turkey.
Okay.
But I'm doing fish. I'm stuffing fish, and I'm making the crab cake, like
Okay.
one big ball. I'm doing shrimp, and I'm
Okay.
doing scallop, and I'm having a variety of vegetable. I'm trying to become a pescatarian also. This is my 2nd month of not eating any red meat, no
Okay.
pork, no beef, no lamb. And it's just hard to break away from chicken and turkey. But I use smoked turkey to cook some things. And I
My sister
brought
used
some-
smoked turkey
I
collard
brought some
greens.
collard greens in today and some rice. And I didn't put any seasoning on anything. I'm trying to see could I go that way, because you see, I'm a big girl. And even though I'm 72, but we're still working. Where there's life, there's hope. And live each day to the fullest and always try to improve something in your life every day.
Yes.
And that's what
Speaking on that note, what will be your hopes for next year? Do you have any desires or secret wishes, and
Yeah.
what would that be for you?
For me, it's more about independence.
Okay.
So to be financially independent and on my own, and also fulfilling my dreams of having my own television show that's actually bringing in money. So that's the goal, and hosting more events. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. So I have a mantra for every year. So this year was more about being prepared for the opportunities. So really pushing myself to educate myself more, to do more than I was doing before. And I feel like next year it will be always ask. because closed mouths don't get fed, you know? So like not being afraid to ask for things that you want, even if you get that no, figure out how to make it a yes.
No doesn't hurt, but you know, there's
Yeah.
a very famous model I work with. I won't mention her name because that would make you too happy. But I asked her once, why do designers give you clothing all the time? And do you know what her response was?
She just asked.
Because I asked. I was like, no, you didn't. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. No, you. Some of the simplest things in the world. And I started asking, and I got this outfit I have on now. I'm from Tristano Onfrey in Italy. I'm sorry, in Germany, an Italian designer who designs in Germany. Because you just ask, and all they can say is no, but they're never insulted a designer. But that just rings home that you are so true, and you are on the right path. And keep asking, keep asking. Sheila, what are your wishes for next year?
Well, we're working on a documentary, and I hope to be finished it by the end of 2019. And getting more education, seeking more knowledge, understanding more, and trying to put myself in a way that I could be understood, because lots of time I'm misunderstood, and a better way of communication for myself.
Can you tell us anything about the documentary? Is it under wraps and you're not ready to even talk about what it's about?
Oh, it's about traditional gospel music.
Oh, great.
And I am so tired of others trying to tell the story, and they weren't there. They read a back of a cover on a 33 album and say, oh, I know, come over here to this country. I know, my God. No, you don't, honey. Not the way we do. We have it, and it's going to be based on the tri-state. Because the South have their story, and most of the traditional gospel singers in my time came from the South. And they have a way of expressing the way they survived here, and the music that their own style of music. Traditional gospel, as far as I'm concerned, started in the 50s. The other person that's working with me, he have other information, and we'll get it together.
I just on that note had such a good time when I was invited to your church for that gospel singing showcase, where it was just gospel singers, one after another, and there were the choirs. Oh my gosh, that really was one of the highlights. I loved that night. And the friends that I invited and my church members, that was awesome. So that's a wonderful documentary.
Thank you.
That's great. I personally am going to try really hard to find time to sit my narrow hips down and write. It's been coming to me in far too many ways now for it to be accidental or coincidental. As a very close friend of mine says, it takes a lot of things to make something a coincidence. And I had someone recently, a very famous writer, and I didn't know she was famous, she writes for the New York Times, call me and just introduce herself and say that she was told that she is to write my autobiography. And I was on the phone like, well, okay, somebody just calling you. And she said, no, I've also been given the name. And I was like, okay, so what's the name? You're gonna write the book and you got the name. Okay, what's the name? And she said, Walking Tall. I don't mean literally, the Luciera story. And I almost broke down in tears. And she said she has the cover for it. I'm going to be stretched out, my body. Anyone that knows me knows. For those of you who don't know, I'm 6'1" without shoes. I'm stretched out on the side of the cover, very tall, elongated. And she wants me to sit down and put together my story, leaving home at 17 and moving to New York and Paris at 19 and working for Givenchy and all the designers and things of that nature.
So why is the Walking Tall type, why did it hit you so hard?
Because for me, that's exactly how I feel. I feel that people have to get up and walk tall. When I figure somebody, the opposite of walking tall is either not walking or when they walk, and by walking they're making it through the day. I survived today. I went to work, I came home, I made dinner, and things are done, and I'll do it tomorrow. But walking tall suggests there was something that happened today that helped me for tomorrow. And that wasn't an accident, that was an on purpose. There was when I feel down, the best way to fight that is to tell someone else something positive. And I go out of my way. I like to say when the enemy is attacking me, my best way to fight is to find complete strangers. Your smile is so pretty today. Oh my God, I love your dress. Your hair is awesome. It can be kids. I'm on the phone with friends at the airport and they're like, you're playing with strangers' kids again, aren't you? And I'm just making them smile and laugh. But when she said that, because I really feel I live by that, what can I do today? And something Sheila said I feel is so important. If you were to ask me what one key secret is, I would have to say if I had to name one thing, it would be gratitude. I really don't feel as if we're blessed with more until we are truly grateful and appreciative of what we have. So when you are continually judging yourself or looking at others, why don't I, or why does she have this, or why can't I have that, I don't truly feel you can be blessed. And maybe that blessing is in your mind because you're grateful with what you have.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what that is. And it's not that you have more. You are just so happy with what you have that you aren't noticing that others may have more of what the world's standards are, which aren't very impressionable to me.
Well, I also feel like when you have that positive mindset of gratitude, then it opens up the world and the universe to you in a different way because you're putting out positive energy.
Yes,
So
and
yeah,
positive
I totally agree with that too.
And positive come back when you put it out.
Absolutely. The next time we see you, it will be a new year.
Ooh, hallelujah.
Already. It feels like the year.
Did it go fast?
Extremely. Extremely.
They say once you hit 30, you don't know this yet. But once you hit 30, they gonna go real fast.
I don't need them to go any faster than
I get up
Well, let
at
me tell
5 in the morning. If I'm not done by 12 noon, seem like nighttime is already here and we're looking for the next day.
I get up at 4:30 in the morning. I know, but I love my mornings. I love my quiet time in the morning, and I am not unlike the military. I get more done in the morning than most people get done all day, but I love that. Remember that we will be back on January 22nd. Please, if you are available on December 16th on the Fox Network, I am co-anchoring the Miss Universe Beauty Pageant. I will also be the choreographer for the 11th year, so please stay tuned and you can point at the crazy chick and I'll be in a different surrounding with different people, but still those I love.
Nice.
We wish you well here. We wish you joy. Anything else, Sheila? Happiness, peace?
And whatever it looked like or whatever you're going through, God can turn it around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. You've been watching 30 Frames a Second. We enjoy you. We hope you enjoy us. See you next year. Yeah. I was going to say next month. Next year. Great show, guys. Thank you very much. I'm really excited about next year.
It was a good conversation.
2019. Wow. Okay. Miss Sheila Spellberry. I used to forget the spell. She's the executive producer of the Gospel Showcase, and we are excited to have one of our friends, and she's been here before, Miss Meah Denise.
Meah Denise.
Meah Denise. And I mess that up often, so I'll just continue to mess it up for the next year, and she's going to forgive me. That's her trial this year, that I'm going to help her learn forgiveness. See how that works? See how God uses each of us? We are so excited to have Meah here.
Meah.
Meah. Meah, I'm not doing